Welcome back to translating your job experience into a role on campaigns. We're going to move on to module 3, identifying your transferable skills. So we're going to zoom in here on the second bucket, which is about shifting how you frame the skills you already have to apply to the industry you're going towards. But first, what are transferable skills? Here at Arena, we define them as skills that you can use in any job, regardless of field or title. For example, your resume might say Univision Communications. You are the director of global marketing, sourcing, and agency management. But how exactly do we translate this to someone who may not know what that is? Because on a campaign, that may not mean much to a hiring manager. So if we use our translating skills, we can break that down to storyteller, which is a transferable skill that talks about communicating complex concepts, writing short and long form narratives, weaving together ideas to form a cohesive story, and helping others to tell and edit their own stories. Similarly, we have the example of a Chicago Shakespeare Theater associate producer. What does this mean to a hiring manager on a campaign? If we use our translation skills, here's how we might approach it. Again, going for the angle of storyteller here. These are two very different jobs, the associate producer and the director of agency management. But by bringing it back to storytelling, to these basic concepts of transferable skills, we are able to show how these jobs are alike and therefore apply our experiences to other jobs that are looking for storytellers. You might also translate it to project management. Similar to the director position, the associate producer manages a large team towards a shared goal. They define the resources needed to achieve the project's objectives, recruit and hire project staff, and track progress towards goals and make changes when necessary. All of these are things that happen frequently on various campaign roles. So how exactly do we go about the process of translating the nitty-gritty, the specific job experiences? Here, this is our talent director, Heather's most recent non-political job credits on her resume from when she was first applying for campaign roles. Now, at the time, she only had one cycle of volunteer organizing experience on a campaign, and she was applying for a digital organizing role on a gubernatorial campaign in their texting program. It required recruiting and managing a large team of volunteers, building a digital organizing plan from the ground up with clear metrics and tracking progress against those metrics, and writing texting scripts that would help volunteers share their authentic stories. So how exactly do we go about going from an associate producer to this position? Here we have some translation. We go from overseeing various specifics about an 18-show season to managing and planning the execution of 18 large-scale public events annually that built the organization's profile locally, regionally, and internationally. We see how Heather translated built creative teams for productions, including directors, designers, music staff, assistants, and associate directors, verse and dialect coaches, into hiring 30+ senior team members per project with a focus on positive, productive team culture. Again and again, Heather takes these very specific instances found in her associate producer role and translates them into descriptions that can be used anywhere. And that is exactly the key about translating our experiences. If you're stuck on how to reframe your skills, break it down to the very basics. And in order to do that, we have to remember something key. Jargon is not our friend. Basically, jargon is a very specific language attached to your previous role that doesn't translate easily to the next role that you're hoping to get. So in order to cut through this jargon, it's best to ask someone from outside your current field to review your resume for clarity. so that they can provide a little bit of outside perspective. Bonus points if you're applying to a job where you have someone inside that field that you are applying to, so they can give you perspective from that field directly. You can also read over the organization's website and social media that you're applying to, and you'll get a sense for the tone, language, and culture, which will all help you translate your language even more specifically. But remember, don't go nuclear here. Often the edits that you need to make are very subtle. We're talking here about eliminating the key specific terms that wouldn't be understood outside of your current role and translate them into a more general description that can be understood generally. We can practice this when we look at what falls into the second bucket of our experience relative to a job description. Practice breaking down what we do into clear, simple, and easily understood terms. On your own, try rewriting the bullet points under one role on your resume. Now that we've done all three of these modules, let's try bringing it all together. When you're translating your experience to a new field, you want to make sure you know your why. You want to understand the job description and how your experience relates. You also want to frame your skills in a way that is clear and relatable and cuts out jargon. If you take these three things and make them apparent through your resume, cover letter, and interview, you'll be able to create a clearer picture as to who you are and translate your experiences clearly and concisely. Please sign up for arena.run. Thanks for joining us through these three modules. Let's review the key takeaways from this training. We did a close reading of the job description, and we understood how our experience relates. We reviewed our why, understood it was an important element to make for the case of translation, and realized it's also an important aspect of politics. We put our experience into three different buckets so that we can reframe it. And we practiced breaking down the roles and skills that we have into clear and concise statements. My name's June Boris. Thank you so much for joining us here at Arena Careers. We're super happy to have you, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.